Hello, today I would like to do an LJL recap. This is a recap of week 4. First of all, I would like to start off that we'll be talking about the events that happened in week 4. So I'll give you some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, and then we will see from there. So let's take a look at my screen. So here are the final standings for week 4. As you can see, V3 is still number 1, Axis is still on the bottom, and if we look over here, the standings have not changed too much. We see DFM and Sengoku switch places. Sengoku is now the only person in second place, or tied for second with Crest Gaming, but DFM has dropped down to 4th place, which is the first time ever that DFM has been this low, to my knowledge. This is the first week that DFM also went 0-2, as you can see over here. Over here, we can see that DFM has lost both games for the first time in a long time. So DFM has lost to Crest Gaming Act, which was unexpected. No one predicted that, to my knowledge. Or at least no one that is actually predicting games lost that, to my knowledge. And DFM also lost to Sengoku Gaming. So this being the first week for DFM to go 0-2 is a huge shocker. Nobody expected that. People thought Sengoku versus DFM, that might be close. You know, Sengoku might win because Sengoku has been looking pretty good. DFM has been looking really shaky, so people might predict DFM to lose. Next up, I want to talk about the fact that RJ, Rascal Jesters, has beat SoftBank Hawks Gaming, SHG. So RJ beating SoftBank was a huge thing. I didn't predict that. RJ has been looking really bad. As you can see in the standings, they were 1-5 before that game. Now they're 2-6. So their 2 wins were from Axis and from SoftBank. People had higher expectations of SoftBank. They are a team with 3 Korean players. Their jungle is a Japanese resident, so he doesn't take up an import slot. Their mid laner Dasher is in 2019 was a very, very, very good player. He would legit 1v9 and carry games single-handedly if given the right champion and the right tools. Their AD carry is Korean, and people thought he is very good from the spring split. Even though SoftBank had a lot of issues, I thought they would finish 5th, which is right where they are right about now. But I predict them to be even better if they were able to get get everything in order. So the first off is like SoftBank struggling and losing to Rascal Jesters is a huge thing. Nobody thought SoftBank would lose to Rascal Jesters. Rascal Jesters losing their 2 main Korean players, having to get 2 new rookies in mid and support, which can be very damaging to a team. Also, Dasher is not unbeatable like he was last time. In 2019, he was probably the best mid laner by far, and he would destroy everyone. Now that he's back in mid, he doesn't look as good. He struggles a lot. Sometimes he loses. He loses to better players. Dasher has had a lot of issues these few weeks. Now there's only a few more weeks left, so if they don't manage to pick up some wins here, they can be in big trouble, because until time of playoffs, if they can't pick up those wins, start getting better, improving a lot, they will have a lot of trouble. Their new top laner, who is Armik, he hasn't played too much. He does not look that great. He's a mediocre player, ranging around from 5th best to maybe even like 6th or 7th best top laner. And when it gets to the 10-minute mark, they look completely lost. One of the good things about the new SoftBank team is that they are playing through their bot lane a lot. Tussle, their jungler, actually goes bot a lot, gangs, and helps them out a lot. So one of the next things I want to take a look at for this sheet is the fact that Axis is 0-8. Now, Axis has been struggling a lot this season. They didn't have the Korean AD carry because of the Corona issue, so they role swapped their previous top laner to AD carry, and they brought in a rookie top laner. Now, doing that has hurt them a lot, because they basically have a rookie top laner and a rookie ADC. I mean, Minyan was a pretty good top laner. I would say he was around in the middle to bottom mark, but it was his he was still new to the sorry. He was still new to the league. He was still new as a player. So you can argue that was like growing issues. Maybe he could have been better, but we won't know now because now once split in, he's now having to role swap mid year. He's now role swapping to ADC, has to learn a brand new position. If you look at his solo queue on op.gg, he is currently like D4, D3 at the time of this recording. He's losing a lot of games by playing AD carry in the Korean solo queue ladder. So having a good, decent to good top laner, having to role swap to like a new AD carry is hurting the bot lane because now their support and AD carry don't look so good, and now having a new top laner is hurting their team a lot because basically you only really have your mid and jungle, and only having 2 players out of 5 is not going to get you any wins. The next thing I want to talk about is V3 is still undefeated, so they're 8-0. They beat every team once and Axis twice. So this is a very dominant team. They look very dominant. Here we can see that this week wasn't so special because V3 beat RJ, who is currently the 7th place team, and they also beat Axis, who is the 8th place team. So this week wasn't very tough for them. But the good thing about these victories is the fact that V3 is looking very good. They look very clean in their wins. They don't make too many mistakes. They're playing very well. It doesn't matter if it's a good opponent or a bad opponent. They're still sticking to their strengths and weaknesses. Or sticking to their strengths, not so much their weaknesses, covering for their weaknesses. And they're able to pick up wins. And as you can see here, what's interesting is that they've already qualified for playoffs after going 8-0. So they can't finish worse than 6th place. So maybe we might see some experimentation after securing their victories. Or we might just see them try to go for the perfect season, win 14-0, and be one of the first teams, or the first team to ever be undefeated, not dropping a single game. So yeah, a lot of things have happened. We can see in the standings not much has changed, but the 2 games I would like to highlight this week is definitely, I would suggest you watch SoftBank versus RJ. I think that will showcase a lot of the issues SoftBank has had, and maybe you can see some of the strong points Rascal Jesters has had. Rascal Jesters has a really good AD carry, and a lot of times they play around their AD carry and let the AD carry try to hyper carry. I think this is really good because I think RJ knows the bad situation they're in, but they're not giving up. They're trying to do what they can, play with the cards they're dealt, and try to win. It would also showcase some of the issues SoftBank has had. SoftBank's Hawks Gaming. Some of the issues that they had, you can see how they don't really know macro rotation at the 10-minute mark. I think these are all very fun, very interesting points, and you can analyze some of those moments in the game. Next, I would like to highlight Dead Nation Focus Me versus Crest Gaming Act. Now, this is a game that I'm focusing on because this really opens your eyes to some of the weaknesses and issues Dead Nation Gaming is having. The DFM has looked almost unstoppable the last few seasons, even the last few years. And this game is showing why they are so low in the standings. If it wasn't for this game, maybe people might question, like, oh, what's going on? Against Sengoku Gaming, like, they're a really good team, so it kind of makes sense. But I think it's unacceptable in terms of like DFM standards to lose to CGA. I think them losing to this CGA opens your eyes more and makes you realize, okay, there's something wrong with DFM. And their macro is terrible. They're always fighting for Rift Herald no matter what. I think that's a big problem. Even if their team comp isn't strong early on, they're still fighting for Rift Herald instead of making cross-map play on the bot lane, freezing waves, etc., etc. Another player that has looked really bad is Evie, their star top laner. Now, Evie is a very, very good player. He is currently Grandmaster. I think he might be close to Challenger in Korean solo queue. I haven't looked at his solo queue recently. But he is a player that is actually a top tier player. Maybe even a player that can be a world-class level player. But he has had a lot of issues this season. He's losing a lot of these top lane matchups, where in the past he would destroy every top laner in the LJL. And with that being an issue, I think this will help but this will keep DFM struggling if they don't fix their macro, learning when to fight, when not to fight, and also help if Evie can hold his own in lane. Because being able to win lane is very important for DFM. That's how they've won in the past, with very strong bot lane and a very strong top lane, and with very helpful utility mid and jungle. That is how they pressure the map. That's how they win games. But now, if you don't have your top laner, you only have your bot laner. That ruins the strategies that DFM has had. That ruins the way they fight, the way they play, the way they rotate around the map. And I think that is a very that has struggled them a lot. But yeah, those are the 2 games that I would suggest. And so week 4 is over. There will be a huge break until week 5. So if you can, you could probably catch all the games. But those are the 2 games I would suggest everyone to take a look at if they have the time. So thank you very much. I'm looking for this week 5, and hopefully we can see if DFM improves in the next few weeks or if they just stay mediocre. Maybe we can see V3 being undefeated, because 3 weeks is a lot of time for practice, scrims, so a lot can change. So nothing's set in stone. Even Axis can win the last 6 games, go 6-8, and make a run to playoffs. I think that'll be a very fun story if that does happen. But a lot is going on, and thank you for watching.